I am joined in the commentary box today by none other than the Smeg. How are you, mate?
Yeah, a bit tired. Not gonna lie. Coming off tier 2 and that crazy race. I'm a bit knackered, but I'm happy to help out where I can, give Sidepod an extra pair of eyes over the race so then we can capture as much action as we possibly can. But from the weather report, it sounds like it's going to be a very, very interesting race.
It's going to be very wet by the look of it, both qualifying and race. So hopefully...
different to Spa. Spa in the recent past in real life has been incredibly dry. To see wet qualifying in a wet race, a little bit different, but
definitely
should be entertaining nonetheless.
100%. So who have we got on a lap right now? I think Waif has just gone fastest with a 156.2. We've got a Red Bull. Aaron, I think, just started his lap.
Let's see, we seem to have a few drivers on flyers. The only drivers still in the pits are Plebs, Miku, Finn, and Gianos. They're on out laps.
Wogboy does a 155.5 in the Racing Point. Got a McLaren about to cross the line. That would be Giannis. I think just starting.
Yeah.
Billy's about to cross the line. He does 155.1. Nice lap there from the Racing Point driver. Very wet day today.
Yeah, it is indeed, but not quite wet enough for wet tyres.
No, not at all.
If it does get worse, though, we'll probably be seeing the best times at the beginning of the session.
I think it's supposed to lighten up a little bit towards the end of the session, so I think that's for the race or quali, I'm not sure. But I heard one of the boys in the party before I jumped out say that. Berger goes P5 with a 156.5. Pato P5, or P4, sorry. Alex Pato P5 with a 157.8. Crossy comes across the line. Ooh, P3, 155.6.
Yeah, there's some pretty competitive times, but Spilly sort of stands head and shoulders above the rest at 55.1. 4 tenths quicker than his teammate Wogboy, who's definitely no slouch.
Oh, definitely. Swaggy. Wow.
Okay.
Swaggy. Alright.
Never mind.
Swaggy's got that raw pace, but he struggles to keep it on track sometimes in the actual race itself.
You're quite right. He does tend to push the limits of the racetrack quite a bit, just off experience. He has exceptional one-lap pace, though, and that clearly shows. But you also have to wonder, is the track just evolving? Just getting better for all the drivers?
I think it might be doing that. We've got a Racing Point about to cross the line. That is Wogboy. And he doesn't improve. I think that was just a cool-down lap.
Yeah, you probably see this from a few drivers in the field where they probably put in a fair few laps worth of fuel. If it is wet in the race, as you say it is, I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of these guys are just doing practice laps. They haven't got minimum fuel yet. They just want to gauge the conditions and what the car is going to be like. And also having to adjust from their dry setup, because I don't think anyone here has a wet setup for Spa. So they probably just have some sort of hybrid setup where they get a dry one, maybe increase the wing a little bit, maybe increase the ride height or something like that, just to make it a bit easier to drive in these conditions. They're probably just getting used to that right now. I expect these guys to really send it.
Definitely a bit of a change racing on this track in the wet as it is to the dry. It's already slippery enough as it is, but in the wet it just makes it even slipperier.
Yeah, it is. Curbs here that really like to spin cars out, particularly turn 10 and sector 2 at corner called Pullon. The fast left-hander, if you touch that inside curb, you're pretty much guaranteed to spin.
Yeah.
It's horrible, I hate it.
As I learnt earlier on in the week in our race in Tier 3 of the Pacific Series. I think, and then you did it the lap after, didn't you?
I was involved in an accident with someone touching that curve.
Yeah, with Evan.
And it cost me a points finish. But I got involved at an incident at turn 13, at 2 or 3 corners after Pullon. It's the left-hander, just before the right-hander that ends sector 3. And I touched the inside curve there a bit too much. The car just oversteered and it spun and I could do nothing. It cost me quite a few positions in the race.
As Wogboy goes P2 with a 154.0, still 6/10 off, or almost 7/10 off Swaggy, which is just shows how quick that lap of Swaggy's was. Absolutely ridiculous. We've got GeForce Todd on an outlap. Plevs is currently on a lap, but yet to set a time. It's looking really squirrely out there for him. He comes down to the hairpin.
He had really good pace in Tier 2. In both the wet and, more importantly, in the dry conditions. He kept up with the likes of ACW.
Would save there
and
from
him. He was looking a lot better than what he did just then. He was under control. He wasn't sliding the car. He looked on point. He was absolutely on it. Not so much there.
No, not at all.
He was completely sideways.
Well, Alex Pato improves on his time by 2.3 seconds, moves up to P6, 155.5. Crossy, P1, 153.2, so almost a tenth faster than Swaggy. I think we've got Swaggy coming around through the final strip. He's coming into the pits, okay. What is Giannis doing? He's getting a good start for this lap by the look of it. So who won Tier 2?
It was ACW in the end, but only just. There's Plevs in second place, and they were separated by... it was a bit less than 2 seconds, but the thing that was so impressive about that was the gap between those two, pretty much all the way through the halfway part to the end of the race. It was actually quite close between those two, right up towards the end, as Hoddy is not liking these conditions either. But, there was a three-way fight for the lead that ultimately turned into a two-horse race after one of the contenders, Isaac Kush, had a spin at turn 5 at Lecom, which ultimately lost him a podium finish. Plevs and ACW put on a masterclass in terms of driving. They really mastered the wet and dry conditions of the circuit, and they were head and shoulders above the rest of the field. So
this GeForce Todd does a 153.9 to go into P5, so he'll be happy with that, just to get him on the board.
Yeah, and he actually made quite a big mistake at the end of the second sector that I noticed. He was very, very sideways and lost bucket loads of time, so he knows he has more pace in the lap. In fact, he loses it at the top of Radio. How he did not crash into a wall, I have no idea. He didn't
hit a wall? Oh, I missed it. I jumped onto Giannis as he's about to finish his lap.
He did a perfect spin, a bit like what Sebastian Vettel did in the Hungarian Grand Prix, where he spun the car and it almost hit the inside wall, but it didn't quite. Almost the same thing happened to Toddy right there at the top of Radion.
Well done to Toddy for keeping it out of the wall then. As Giannis crosses the line for his first lap and does a 152.7, a half a second clear of Crossy and Swaggy. What a time there from the McLaren driver.
It's a very, very good
I think we've got
Giannis. Superb job there. Just see what the other drivers have in response, I suppose.
Who's the next one across the line? That would be Gaming Burger.
I think Mr. Crichton is about to finish his first flying lap as well. I reckon this is going to be
second. So the track is definitely improving drastically, and Crichton goes 6/10 quicker than Giannis. Oh, he's just too quick, this boy. He's way too quick.
He is very, very fast.
It's not fair for the rest
as you mentioned, the track conditions are improving, so even though he might be standing head and shoulders above the rest, if the drivers can time their lap right and get the most out of the conditions, as Zach has a massive moment at the top of Radio, but keeps it out of the wall.
It's quite scary going through there.
They might be able to find that 6/10 right at the end of the session when the track is at its best.
Definitely. Yeah, it's quite scary going through. It's quite scary going through Eau Rouge and Radion in the wet. I had heart and mouth moments.
To go through in the dry.
It is, but in the wet it's even scarier. We had wet qualifying in our race and it was not fun. I almost lost it multiple times through there.
But with this track, there's these sort of flat out, sort of nothing corners that become really, really dangerous in wet conditions. I'm not saying Eau Rouge and Raidillon is nothing, but if you get it right, you can take it absolutely flat out. And it's not too difficult to do, as Giannis does a 52.2.
Yeah, improve his time by half a second. That's on worn tyres as well, I think.
But,
maybe not.
yeah, in these conditions where it's so slippery, you can't take Eau Rouge and Raidillon flat out. You have to lift, you have to brake, you have to be very bloody careful.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And also with turn 17, Blanchimont in the third sector, just before the bus stop chicane, it's typically flat out in dry conditions. It's definitely not flat out in the wet.
It's definitely not. I found out that the hard way. I lost it twice through my qualifying laps in the race beforehand.
Yeah,
Twice.
Those corners will catch you out.
Oh, yeah.
Another example is probably Cops Corner in Silverstone. It's flat out in the dry. It's difficult to take because it's so easy to run wide or cut the corner too much. But in the wet, it's terrifying because the car is on edge. You're on the edge of grip. The car is just about to spin out on the corner exit. You have to be careful when you employ the throttle. It's just like in the dry, some of these corners are just stupidly easy to take with these cars.
Oh, yeah,
because they generate so much downforce. But in the wet, it becomes a completely different story.
100%. As Wogboy is on a lap right now, he comes down through into the final two right-handers before the back straight. I think he's on a good lap here. We'll see, yeah, he's 1.1 seconds up on his time. Still needs to find a little bit more though. 2 seconds down of the top drivers at the moment.
It's 10 seconds left in the session.
And he's invalidated through Blanchimont. That's unfortunate for Wogboy.
Now Zach is just leaving the pits with a bit under 2 minutes to go.
He's going to have to... He's not going to be able to mosey around this lap. He's going to have to...
Get a move on.
Got a few seconds. It's going to be a bit... It's going to be tight.
A bit touch and go.
Definitely. He's going to need to clear these guys ahead of him. That's for sure. So Wogboy invalidated going through Blanchimont on that last lap. He's given it one more try this lap as he goes through Eau Rouge and out through Raidillon. Down on the Camel Straight. Let's see, who have we got? Who's the first driver that's going to finish this last lap? Crossie has invalidated, but he'll get across for one more lap. Pure Gold looks like he's on a lap. He's almost 3/10 up on his time. 7/10 up on his time through the second sector. This will put him in P3 if he can keep it on the road.
Keeping an eye out on Crichton and Berger here. Both of them are sort of a bit touch and go in regards to how much time they have to left. They have to cross the third sector a bit less than 40 seconds. I think they're going to be okay.
As Pure Gold goes P3, only 2.5 tenths behind Zach Crichton, so the track is improving. Spilly goes P3 now, just beats Pure Gold by just over a tenth. Who have we got next? Is that Crichton? No, that was Plev. Plev that
he's
started.
Just going to make it as well.
It's going to be close, yeah, he's just going to make it. As Aaron moves up to P5, the 152.8.
Berger having a massive moment at the exit of the bus stop chicane.
Gaming way for tired from the session. He's lost it. I think he went a little bit too wide for the last right hand, has maybe hit that exit wall.
I've done that before.
I've done it plenty of times as well. It's very easy to do.
I ran onto the curb on the outside of the car, just sort of understeered. I wanted it to turn, it didn't turn, and it just went into the outside wall.
GeForce Todd just set a 152.3 to go fourth fastest. Good lap there from him. He'll be happy with that.
I'm riding on board with Zach's lap. Just to hint how quick this guy is going, he's 3/10 up in the first sector.
Jesus. just
that
not fair
sector
for the other
only
drivers.
has 4 corners in it. And 1 braking zone. Too long.
Rossi, P1. Oh, 152.0. What a lap there from him.
See this sector 2 split with Crichton.
Well, Pure Gold here. Pure Gold could steal pole here right now. He's 4/10 up on his time, and this will be good enough for a 51.9. Pure Gold runs across the line. 51.8 for Pure Gold. What a lap there. I think he's going to be...
No.
Spilly.
I'm sorry.
Spilly. 151.7.
No. The man you want to watch right now is Zach Crichton.
Yeah, we're on board with him.
He's up by 7/10 of a second.
That is ridiculous.
At the second sector. And I kid you not, I've been on board with this entire lap. It's been sideways. It's been brilliant to watch. And he's out of fuel.
And he's out of fuel. Oh no!
Oh,
no! Oh no!
That was a simply magical lap.
Oh, and he still did a 52.1. He still did. Oh no, that was his old lap. Okay. Oh, that was the lap of the gods, but he ran out of fuel. If he had just put it down into, I wonder if he put it into low, he might have been able to actually get across and finish that lap time.
Pretty short standard, not max.
But there's Swaggy also gets P2 at the end there as well. So there's a qualifying result you don't see very often. Crichton down in P8 with Giannis right behind him in P9, but Spilly takes P1 with a 151.7. Swaggy right behind him, only 500ths behind him in the McLaren, the 151.796. Pure Gold, great drive there from him, 151.8. Plebs P4, well, Plebs came out of nowhere as well. With the 151.9, Aaron close behind, only 100th of a second behind Plebs. Berger and Crossy in the Williams in 6th and 7th, Crichton in 8th, Giannis in 9th, GeForce Todd in 10th, Wogboy down in 11th, Wafer in 12th, Mikulci, always stuff his name up, Miku in 13th, and Pato in 14th. I think there was a couple other drivers as well. I think there was Ginger and someone else out of the top 14. So it's wet for the race.
The thing that impressed me the most about those times is that the top 11 was separated by 7/10 of a second.
That's ridiculous.
Top 11. That's actually quite a performance from those drivers to be that close. But I have to say, Crichton was on for a mega lap, but yeah, just ran out of fuel. That's such a costly error for him.
He's just not a known driver that makes mistakes. I wouldn't even call that a mistake. That's just unlucky running out of fuel before the end. But
yeah, I guess he wasn't keeping an eye on it. Like typically, you don't think about the fuel during qualifying. You typically give yourself enough. But I guess Zach was running on the limit.
As he's just commented in the chat, "Rip me that damn fuel." Just commented on the YouTube channel. Unfortunate there for Zach, but... Yeah, go ahead, Smick.
That was genuinely a mega lap. I was watching all the way through that, and I kid you not, sideways doesn't even begin to describe that's the second sector he just went through. It was genuinely sideways. Yeah.
It's amazing what he can do with the car.
He was finding grip in places where there shouldn't be grip. You know?
He's got the hack.
If anyone else drove like he did, they'll be 7 seconds off the pace, looking like a complete fool. But somehow, some way, with him driving like that, he found almost 0.8 of a second in Sector 2. And he was on course for an astonishing lap time. And there was only fuel and fate that ultimately did give him that pole position.
Yeah, it's amazing the control he has over the car. Like, I've seen him do drift laps while doing commentary, just having fun in like the F2 cars. Just showing that he's got so much control over the car, he can put it sideways, carry it through with no issue. That's why I call him Zach Drifty Boy Crichton. Like, it's just, it makes it look so easy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's... I am very impressed with how he drove on that lap and how committed he was. I was very, very impressive.
So from what I've heard, I think this whole race is going to be wet, but the drivers are on soft tyres, so it might dry out later on. Everyone's on the soft tyres. Interesting. Only driver that chose the mediums is Wogboy. Everyone else is on the soft compound.
So he's gambling with the weather system in this game, being a bit off sometimes. He's hoping that the wet weather doesn't come till maybe halfway through the race, where the soft tyres will be shot to pieces. Well, that's what he thinks anyway. The soft tyre can last quite a while around here. Tyre degradation isn't too much of a problem. So,
no, it's definitely not.
I don't know. It's a gambling move from Wogboy. I understand that. So it might pay off for him. You never know with this game. You never know. And Zach's just DM'd me saying, I'll give you guys a show.
Ask him while you're there, what's the weather for the race? Is it going to dry out or is it going to stay like this?
It is raining right now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Is it going to actually dry out or is it going to stay wet the whole race? Because I've seen it happen before, stay like this the whole race and the drivers stay on the dry tyres. Which...
Let's see. No, I probably shouldn't be doing it because he shouldn't be texting and driving. That's a no-no. But anyway.
We've got a comment on the thing. So we've got Dual Slab in the comments going for Ginger and Miku. So they've got a big task ahead of them starting 13th and 15th, but let's see what these drivers can do. I'm looking for a good start from Swaggy off the front row of the grid.
Let's see, drivers lined up. We should be all good to go, unless the lobby shits itself, which it can do.
Oh, it's happened multiple times before. Let's hope it doesn't. Looks good though. Alright, so 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and away they go. Good start there from Swaggy by the look of it, but Spilly holds the inside line. Oh, Aaron up the inside of turn 1. Looks nice and clean though so far. Yeah, it looks like everyone's still got all their bits and pieces as Crichton tucks in behind Plebs.
Oh, it Wogboy into the fence. That's massive. Oh my word.
Oh,
you don't go side by side through Eau Rouge, and that's exactly why. Oh, yeah. And he's on the medium tyre as well.
He is too. That's kind of ruined his race. He's going to have to go to the hards to even salvage anything of this race. But hards on this track where the temperatures are going to be so hard to warm up, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a long day for Wogboy, unfortunately.
He needs a safety car in order to bring himself back.
Yeah, definitely.
Zach's overtaking his new teammate in the place. He's just sort of going to first place. As who's that? It's that Alex in the fence just before turn 9.
Is. Yep. Here comes Wogboy through. Let's hope these two don't make any contact.
There we go.
So there's pit strategy there. Soft to medium is definitely the move for these drivers. The top 3 have held position through the start of the race. Pure Gold will be happy with that. Sitting P3 at the moment. G-Force Aaron right behind him. G-Force Crichton looking to make a move down the back straight through Blanchimont. And he's got the move done for Blanchimont, so that was easy.
Daddy's going to put on a show, and at the moment
he's already up 4 positions. Yeah, it's ridiculous how quick this boy is. I like. Oh wait.
Oh, no, that's just the leaderboard.
Yeah, just the leaderboard glitching out. Yep. It's good for at least once every race.
Yeah, pretty much. After the opening lap, the leaderboard just shoots itself, and then it goes over. I don't know why it does it, to be perfectly honest, but...
Just Codemasters in a nutshell, basically. Be good at that. The leaderboard's
hard
still
tyre
glitched.
for Alex.
What's Wogboy doing? He's going on the mediums again.
Okay.
So he's going to have to pit again. I think he thinks that the hard tyres, I don't think they're going to be good in this weather. Track's going to be too cold. It's going to be so hard to get the temperature in the tyres.
Absolutely. Which is why you'd almost question why he didn't start on the soft compound tyre to begin with. I mean, in these sort of conditions where it's so tricky to gauge what the car is doing.
3-second time penalty, interesting. Also, can you jump on Spilly for me? Does he have his ERS emptied,
Completely
stuck
depleted?
open? Yeah, I think he might have the ERS stuck on.
Well, it's on mode 1, which is medium mode. I think he's just dumped it all in the first sector.
Yeah, true.
And he hasn't got any left. Oh no, looks it up into overtake.
Okay, interesting. It must be a glitch on our end.
It must be. I haven't seen this one before.
No, we'll see what happens when he crosses the line, though. See how much he's got. Looks like he's trying to extend that gap to get away.
Let's see what he does.
See what this is up in the overtake, and okay, yeah, definitely just wigged out. I think.
Okay, so he must have just dumped it all, I guess.
Well, if he dumped it all, he'd have a lot less than 83%. You'd think so, anyway. But anyway, Aaron is now P5 as Crichton gets past him for P4. Oh, that was a little while ago, actually. Big movers off the start, though, are GeForce Crichton and FRL Ginger, who started from last and is now in 11th. Todd has also gained 2 places off the start. Wobboy had that spin through Eau Rouge on the opening lap. That's definitely hurt his race. He's fallen well behind the lead pack. He needs a safety car to bring his race back into it.
We can make that 5 positions now for Zach. He's up into 3rd place already.
Past Pure already.
Yeah. As DRS is enabled, the track isn't letting us off quite just yet. So use the DRS into slingshot by these.
Oh, Crichton touches that inside curb through Poo on. Quite scary when you do that, but the car didn't flinch. The car didn't flinch though, it held firm.
Don't get it. Dude's an alien.
I know, right? His skill's ridiculous. It's just, you can't compete with him. He's won, I think it's 6 consecutive races in a row in Pacific Series Tier 1. He hasn't finished off the podium all season, so 11 consecutive podiums. It's ridiculous. He doesn't make mistakes. And if he does, he still manages to find his way back up into the top 3, which he has right now already on lap 3, after starting P8. Right, fastest lap. Wow. That's quite a big difference too, isn't it?
Now,
I know.
Spilly, I'm pretty sure, set that just before Crichton did.
I think Spilly said it, then Swaggy said it, then Crichton said it, just consecutively, so
Swaggy did a 52.8, Swaggy did a 52.2, and Crichton...
Yeah, Spilly 52.3, Spilly 52.3, Swaggy 52.2, and Crichton 52.1, yeah. Just ridiculous times from these drivers. It looks like, I don't know, it's still raining. Just that camera view there, it looked like the rain had stopped.
Yeah, it looked like that for me briefly as well, because typically you can see raindrops on the halo, and that briefly stopped. But still going.
So Swaggy's putting pressure on Spilly right now. The McLaren driver looking to make a move on the racing point, but they have a very speedy Mercedes right behind them. GeForce Todd's also gained 4 positions. He's got past Berger and Plevs. And Plevs losing another position to Crossy. He's still side by side. They come down to turn 13. A little bit of contact between the 2 drivers. They're still side by side. Crossy's yielded to Plevs.
Oh, and in the background, the McLaren of Giannis. Off the circuit, just briefly.
Giannis not having a good race so far. He's dropped 2 positions. He might not have had a wet setup, although you wouldn't think you'd need one in this condition. You definitely want to be running a dry setup.
Still quite tricky conditions, I suppose.
Definitely.
I'm not a fan of these conditions where it's not wet conditions, but it's definitely not dry as well. There's rain on the circuit, there's water on the circuit, and the car, I don't know, I just don't like the feeling. I would much rather it be full-on intermediate.
Yeah.
Rather than
one or the other.
Maybe intermediate.
Instead of this in between, it's a lot harder. And I think most of these drivers, if they did have a wet setup, they would have gone with the wet setup because they would have seen it would have been raining in the race. Yeah. But when they get into it, they realise it's actually basically dry conditions with a little bit of dampness around, a little bit of wet rain. Wet rain. God, listen to me. So, Spilly still holds the lead, 4/10 over Swaggy. Crichton in P3, he's closing up, he's within a second of the leader right now. Pure Gold's dropped back a little bit, he's out of the DRS range. He has the 2 Red Bulls right behind him.
Not much else going on at the moment. Top 3 pretty close. We have a nice midfield battle as well, but other than that, everyone's sort of settling down a little bit, just trying to find their rhythm, I suppose. Hello, it's Giannis.
Big moment there from Spilly through, what turn was that? Through the... turn...
15.
Yeah, 15, yeah. As a rear end, hit the ripple strip, rear end and slid out. He held onto it though, he did well.
Zach's on the back of the McLaren of Swaggy.
Sure is right now, taking an interesting line, a quicker line to get that good run onto the front straight. As you see, the DRS opens for both drivers. It's quite funny seeing the DRS open in these conditions.
Don't typically see it once it starts raining. No, but I guess the stewards find the conditions still dry enough for drivers to use it. It'll be interesting to see when that call comes in when DRS is disabled, if it's disabled.
If it's going to be, yeah.
It's taking a while for this track to go to intermediate.
Yeah, well, I think we might be stuck with these conditions the whole race, by the look of it. It just doesn't seem to be... Still looks cloudy, doesn't look like it's going to stop at all, but... So I think we've got Crichton's got a 3-second time penalty already as well, hasn't he? Well, the top 2 haven't yet.
He's pushing quite hard.
He's also dropped back.
He's trying to make his way through. He's bound to cut the track at some point. So.
He's dropped back from the top 2 though. He's out of DRS range now, but only slightly. Fuel Gold's closed back in on Crichton, so he's in the DRS range, as is Aaron. But Giannis, Wogboy and Pato having a lonely race at the back there. After a few little incidents involving themselves. Crichton though, back within a half a second of Swaggy, quite quickly. I would really like to see this race dry out a bit. It'd be quite interesting to see what happens. I wonder if some of these drivers will be looking to come in this lap to go for the undercut. It's actually worked out quite well, especially if you're good on your tyres. And there goes Swaggy, as I said it. And that's the man who told me to do the undercut in my race. So I caught back 2 seconds. So you might see him. He might come out in the lead if Spilly and Crichton decide to stay out for 1 or 2 more laps. Giannis 3-second time penalty.
Into the medium tyre for Swaggy.
Yep, he'll get him to the end of the race, no doubt. Crossy's also into the pits. He's come in to put on the medium tyres. And as is Giannis, he's coming in to put on the medium tyres. Wait, didn't he put on the... How many stops has Giannis had?
Just the one. Well, this is his first stop now.
That's right, it was Wogboy that came in and did the 2 stops.
Yeah. Wogboy and Alex were the 2 drivers that came in, did those stops. After damage on the first lap.
So, we didn't actually get to see what the... You know what the pit stop time is in this, like the delta for doing a pit stop is? Because right now he's 18.5 seconds behind Spilly, the leader.
Well, I know that the pit lane isn't particularly long here at Spa. Of course it's travel through 80 kilometers an hour as well. So the delta wouldn't be particularly massive. But, I don't know. But if that gap between Swaggy and Spilly begins to close, I reckon Spilly would be sweating just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I know in the dry in my race, I was 3.5 seconds behind the leader, came in on lap 6. The leader came in lap 8 and I came out a second and a half behind the leader. So it's good, definitely good for an undercut. But it's just a matter of how much he's going to get. Let's see if Spilly comes in. He does. So, and so does Crichton and Pure and Aaron. So GeForce Todd decides to stay out. Levs also elects to stay out as his teammates in the pits.
Looking at Swaggy, he's pushing pretty hard. Trying to get himself out of front, and he will, I think. He's going to come at it from massively, I think. Oh,
see where Swaggy comes out, so he's jumped him right now.
And he's going to get a run on Spilly here.
Oh, he's going to get a run on Spilly, but this undercut has worked out perfectly for Swaggy right now. Oh, side by side. Oh, a little bit of a moment. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two drivers. Here comes Zach. He's going to get them both here. He's going to get them both here. He doesn't even... Oh, maybe not, because he doesn't have DRS, unfortunately.
Yeah, Zach's pretty peeved about that. He got the run. He had the speed, but without DRS, he couldn't reach the speeds that Swaggy was getting. Yes, he had DRS. Spilly, a massive loser out of that one, losing 2 positions in the effective race lead as well. So
yeah, I think he might have a little bit of damage too. He's still got both front end plates, but he took a big hit into the rear of Swaggy up Eau Rouge through Blanchimont as Swaggy got a little bit sideways. So that might affect him a little bit. He might have a lime green or a yellow front wing.
We'll see whether or not he falls back into the clutches of Aaron or starts losing time to Zach and Swaggy out from front. Yeah, the lime green wing does affect the car quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Especially on one of these high speed tracks, on the high speed corners, it just the downforce just falls off and also increases tyre wear. So the top 3 are in the pits.
Oh, hello, Carl.
5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to hurt him.
A bit clumsy there, I must say. Can't afford to get those sort of penalties when the field is bunched up like it is. Really does hamper you quite a bit.
These drivers lost a lot of time here. Todd. Oh, sideways out of the pit exit for GeForce Todd. Oh, and he's sideways again. Oh, how did he not make contact with those drivers ahead of him?
I think he ghosted. I think they did make contact, but he ghosted.
Wow, that was close. God, he was...
That should have been a massive accident.
God, it should have been massive. I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't. Giannis is retired from the set. Okay, he's retired in the pits.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. He's having a rough race.
He does have to be careful of that because, as it turned out in the Tier 2 Pacific Tier race, a driver retiring from a session caused a safety car. So,
he retired in the pits though, so it should be fine.
Yeah, still cool. And so
caused
did
a safety car, did it? Retiring in the pits. Wow.
He retired in the pits and it caused a safety car. That's like an F1 2019 thing.
Oh,
that was
this game is so broken. It's amazing we still play it. Let's be honest.
I know.
Crichton right now putting pressure on GeForce Swaggy as Miku is in the lead, but he's still yet to make his pit stop. He's going to want to pit this lap for sure. His tyres are going to be screaming at him.
Right now, he doesn't have a great benefit
of staying
being in this position. Even if there's a safety car that comes out, everyone's good to go to the end, so he might as well come in and try and not lose more time to those he's fighting with.
As he does come into the pits. Oh, jeez, just slowed that down before the pit. That was impressive.
He doesn't want to lose too much time. You can see there, he's going to lose out to Wafer, I think.
He's going to lose out to quite a few drivers, I think, yeah.
Medium tire.
The Swaggy still in P1 right now with GeForce Crichton right behind him. He has got DRS and a little bit of ERS used. We might see a move here from the Mercedes driver, and Swaggy doesn't even fight it. He just lets him go straight through. Oh, a little bit of contact there into Lacombe. Zach.
Sideways
Zach.
again.
Swaggy. Oh, he might be able to get that penalty removed as he was trying to avoid. He did cut the corner, but he was also trying to avoid contact with Crichton ahead of him.
Yeah, he was completely sideways through both of those corners there. He was completely and utterly sideways, so I completely understand if Swaggy was just trying to avoid him there.
G-Force Aaron in P3 right now. He's got past Spilly, so Spilly looks like he might have a little bit of damage from that contact with Swaggy, as he doesn't look like he has the pace on these mediums anymore.
Look at that, he's got Pure Gold Ginger right up his backside when he was competing with Swaggy and Crichton at the beginning of the race. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now.
Ginger's had a great drive though. It's unfortunate he got that 5-second penalty for speed in the pit lane because he's up 9 positions from starting last.
He's going to have to try and deal with that somehow. Not quite sure. Here we go.
Drive. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh no, it's contact between all the drivers. Oh, Pure Gold. I think he might have got a little bit of damage there because Spilly, yeah, that was a bit of a calamity, that one. Spilly broke a little early, and Pure Gold ran up. Okay, Ginger just retired, mate. That's poor form. That's poor form. Straight into the pits, retired.
Mate, that.
It was technically his own fault there, and then he just, yeah, I guess, but it looks like he's coming back out onto the track as well, which is...
Yeah, the AI will do that. As the AI briefly went into overtake. It's going into overtake at the pit exit. The AI went into overtake at the pit exit. Oh my god.
So Pure Gold. Pure Gold's a big winner out of that. I think he might have a little bit of damage, maybe the same as what Spilly had before, because he did rear end Spilly into the bus stop chicane. So, but he's sitting P4 right now with Crossy right behind him, and Gaming Burger and Todd. Well, we've actually got a little train here. Spilly, Todd, Plebs, Gaming Burger and Crossy.
All of them minus there.
Oh, we've missed that. Wait. No, that's right. So Crichton's pulled out a 1.2 second gap over Swaggy right now. Does that come out of nowhere? Once he got past him, he's just left him for dead. Swaggy...
Yeah, he's gone and set a purple sector 2 while he's at it.
And they both have a 3-second time penalty as well, if I'm not mistaken. But Aaron, everyone's dubbed him the Rossi of F1 because somehow he always manages to find a podium coming from 5th or 6th. Because he avoids penalties all the time. If he stays within 3 seconds, he could get the race win in this.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll know that as well.
Oh, so. He definitely will. He's in the party with them all and they'll be talking.
He has to play a long game with Zach and Swaggy. They need to get down to business and put the hammer down and try and build a margin over Aaron. Aaron just needs to remain consistent, not get any penalties, but also maintain good pace. You can't really get complacent. Otherwise the two in front will definitely pull away. So, it's going to be a nice balancing act for the top 3. For Zach and Swaggy, they have to push, but pushing will lead to mistakes. With Aaron, he needs to be consistent. If he makes a mistake, his challenge is done. But he can't be, I suppose, too consistent. He needs to be
we've got Plebs that spun in the background. Sorry to cut you off, Smeg. Plebs spun on the exit of Lake Hom, hit the wall. I'm pretty sure he's got damage. Yeah, he's missing his front right end plate, so he's going to have to pit for softs. Softs should be able to make it to the end here, you'd think. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Fresh
and
softs
with
anyway.
These conditions, with the reduced track temps, there should be less wear on the tyre. So, yeah, the soft tyre should make it, no problem.
Unfortunate there for the Mercedes driver as he runs wide through Pouillon as well. He might be getting a few warnings for that. And again, staying out of the way of the drivers behind him. But unfortunate there for the Mercedes driver. As Crichton and Swaggy pulled out a 2.5 second gap now. 2.5 second gap between Swaggy and Aaron. So Aaron's dropped off the back a little bit. Going to need to put his foot down to keep it within that 3 second margin. He's got half a second to gain.
Like I said, down your marks, but don't get complacent. unfortunately, is well behind.
Do you want to check and see Crichton and Swaggy's warnings and see how many they're on for me, Speak? If that's right.
So Crichton's on 3 seconds plus 1 warning, so he's got 2 more to get before he gets another penalty. Swaggy, he's only just on 3 seconds now. He's got no more warnings next to his name. With Aaron, he's got 1 warning next to his name. So quite close between these 3, but they can afford at least 1 mistake.
As Plebs is retired from the session, he comes into the pits.
That's very unlike Plebs.
Yeah, I think he's just had a long race in Tier 2. I think he's just had enough of this one. Boys are so quick, he's just like, oh, I'm just going to retire the car.
I have a feeling too that he'd be pretty knackered after that race. He put on quite a good show. He drove well, so I guess for him, he's just happy to fill in, see what I can do.
Get some numbers in there for Tier 1, as a few drivers have dropped out, and it's hard to get drivers for this tier because everyone's so quick.
Well, that's just it. It's the top tier. It's
It's
very hard to find a consistent bunch of drivers who are this quick. Because once you start to get towards the top, the gaps start to spread between the field. Because you get the drivers who are really good, better than Tier 2 for sure. But then you get the guys who are exceptional, like Zach, like Swag, like Aaron, who are just head and shoulders above most of the Oceanic group. It's kind of difficult as well because you see the same guys winning over and over again. It sort of takes the life out of you as drivers further back sometimes.
Oh yeah, especially when you're in.
See yourself challenging from the front, which is
when
a sad thing that people think, but people do think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely disheartening if you're a new driver coming in and you see these drivers lapping 1.5 seconds quicker than you, and you're just like, what can I do? Like,
well, exactly. It is a bit disheartening, but good racing drivers don't see it like that. Good racing drivers see it right. Those guys are 1.5 seconds quicker than me. I need to become quicker.
Yeah.
So drivers would practice or do whatever they need to do, try and challenge those top guys. They better themselves, so then they become competitive, not drop back into a competitive league where they can fight for podiums and whatnot. The good racing drivers challenge themselves and try and match those top guys and hopefully beat them one day. And they become good enough.
So Swaggy's closed the gap to Crichton now. It's within, was 0.5 second a second ago, but it's now down to 7/10. So Swaggy looks like he might be trying to mount a challenge against him. He's got 50% ERS to Crichton's 24%. So he's been saving it. And this is the battle for the win. They both have a 3-second penalty each. I think Swaggy might have even just got a warning for that little track extend. Crichton seems to be so much quicker through the final sector, at least the last half of the lap, as he's pulled out, went up to almost 1 second. Now Swaggy's closing back in. Big lock up there from Swaggy into the bus stop chicane.
Turn 1 is really, really important for Swaggy. He needs to keep within ERS range. So if he makes a mistake at turn 1, his assault for the lead is pretty much over. He needs to stay within that second of gap between him and Crichton. Yeah, I have a feeling once that gap gets over 1 second and Swaggy doesn't have ERS, his challenge for the win is going to be very, very low.
Well, he
Zach
did.
will just capitalise on it. So
he did drop out over a second a few laps ago, but he somehow clawed his way back. I think Crichton might have made a little mistake, and so he's back within it now. But yeah, he's still got a lot of work to do to get past Crichton, as he's very quick.
And well, you make mention to get past Crichton. That's critical. There's one thing catching up to the bloke. There's another thing trying to overtake it.
I know, he makes that car as wide as a Mack truck.
Well, I have a high regard for good driving. I love watching good driving. And there was one magnificent race on Race Spec. I can't remember what tier it was, but it was Season 2. And there was a race at Bahrain, and there was a battle for the lead between Zach
and
Revolution.
X-Revolution.
Yes, I remember that. I think that might have even been this year.
Oh, was it this year?
I think it might have been, because they put, I remember seeing Zach share a video of his last 2-lap battle with, which is, well, actually no, it might have been last season, because it was Revolution at the time. This year he's been Giannis. So yeah, I think you're right, I think it was last year. But yeah, I remember seeing that. It was an absolute cracker of a last 2-lap battle.
The thing that impressed me the most is that X-Revolution held all the cards. He was behind, he saved enough of his resources to launch an attack, he had DRS, he had everything in his favour. But what Zach did so well was put the car in just the right place, so then he could just stop Giannis in his tracks. Any move that Giannis made was pretty much made null and void, simply because Zach put the car in exactly the right place. And that's exactly what Swaggy is going to face right now. If he can get close to him, which he is now...
Oh, is he going to make a move? Crichton's definitely going to defend.
Zach's just going to put the car exactly where he needs it to be. Around the outside, he'll hold the inside line for turn 6.
Swag,
contact. I have to say, Zach, that was quite a bit of understeer there.
Oh, but Zach's going to make a move down the inside of the hairpin. Beautiful shot here from the helicopter. And Zach makes it stick, but... Oh, they're still side by side into no name.
Now they really need to sort this out. They can't be side by side.
This is great racing from the two drivers.
I must say, Zach didn't put up as much of a fight as I thought he might.
No.
I have to say, because the aerial shot started at turn 5, it looked like he just completely opened the door for Swaggy, almost as if the car just understeered on entry. And in fact, he's might be even starting to drop back. The interval's starting to close a little, but...
I think this might be Swaggy's opportunity to get away from Zach, as Crichton has got the yellow flashing fuel light on his dash, so... And Swaggy hasn't, so Swaggy could go hard right now, try and break that 1 second gap, and just try and get out of that DRS range of Crichton to maybe take the race win.
Clearly it's the wrong way around. He proceeds to do a donut.
Oh, as he does again, it catches him doing another donut there. Unfortunate there for Spilly. He was having a really good race. He's got a red front wing as well. We might see him retire into the pits at the end of this lap. Alexi goes on to try and steal a fastest lap off one of these drivers.
The lap's starting to tumble down a little. And so Spilly just a little excursion up into the tarmac. But Zach. Oh, wait a minute, Spilly. Spilly, what in God's name are you doing?
He's staying out, and he's going to try... Please don't cause a safety car, Spilly.
Because he went and completely cut the bus stop chicane. I'm going to stay with him.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing.
He's in neutral in first. He's spun it at turn 1. He's reset the track, so that's a pen.
That might be the game doing that. Thing as it looked like he was going into the pits, but I'm not sure.
Jump back onto the lead group.
Yeah, I'll stay with Spilly, keeping an eye on him. I guess Spilly is just trying to make light of a difficult situation. He's just doing donuts everywhere at the moment.
He had a really good start to the race, but yeah, the last half of the race hasn't gone his way at all. After the contact with Ginger, and then that's got to add insult to injury as well for Spilly. Ginger makes contact, spins, and retires instantly. You hate to see it, but oh, we've got a little bit of, just a little bit of congestion through the bus stop chicane with quite a few drivers. Excuse me.
Luckily for Spilly, there's plenty of places to do donuts as it's a 7 kilometre race back.
I think he's trying to do his best impersonation of Crichton, doing some driftage around the track. But Crichton's closing up on Swaggy. Swaggy hasn't been able to get away from Crichton. Swaggy still has 50% ERS, where 57% ERS, where Crichton only has 25 now. Aaron holding firm in P3. Pure Gold sitting well in P4. The two Williams sitting P5 and P6. GeForce Todd in P7. Miku P8. Wafer up to P9. Wogboy P10. He's still going to need a pit, I think.
Yes.
I think he started on the mediums, then went to the mediums again, so he's going to need a pit. So he'll definitely be taking home fastest lap because he's got multiple free pit stops between him and Spilly right now.
Yes, he does.
Todd has retired from the session. Where did Todd die? Going to see he must have hit the inside turn through Puon. And there he is. Yep. Well, unfortunate there for the Red Bull driver. Yeah. So is this going to be? It's not going to be a safety car. That would have made it interesting. Would have loved to have seen a safety car caused by an actual crash, not Spilly being having a bit of fun at the back.
Not Spilly being a dingo.
Yeah, being a bit of a pelican.
But Wogboy's going to love that. He's going to score another point.
Oh yeah.
What has been fairly agricultural race.
I think we might see him pit here on this lap.
I reckon you're right. I don't think it'll stay out any longer.
There's no point.
No one else is going to box, I think.
That's it. Oh, he's staying out. Okay, right. He might
I guess after thinking about it, one person can box as Brighton's going to be. If Wogboy pits now, it gives the gaming Wafer an opportunity to pit as well.
True. Does Wafer have any penalties? Oh, Pure Gold holds position against Berger as Berger tries to sneak down the inside. And it looks like... Can you check Pure Gold and Gaming Burger's penalties? Because I just saw Aaron picked up a 3-second penalty.
Pure Gold's got 2 warnings but no pen.
Oh, Pure could steal a podium here.
Berger's got 3 seconds but no more warnings after that. And yes, you're quite right. GeForce Aaron, this lap, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So
Pure Gold right now is looking good for a podium finish.
Yeah. And he doesn't have to worry too much about Berger behind either.
No, not at all.
So just worry about the car in front. Keep that gap under 3 seconds. And yeah, central podium for Pure.
Spilly's put on the wet tyres.
He's definitely doing his just trying to do some drifting.
Oh, he's going to die. He just lost his front wing. Jesus, Spilly.
Okay then. There's making light of a difficult situation, and then there's this.
Yeah.
You can muck around, but don't do anything stupid, please.
I think it's a bit too late for a safety car now anyway, so that's the only bonus.
Right. As he destroys the 50 board at turn 5, but the drivers don't necessarily use it. Use the 100 board as a reference.
So Swaggy is within 3/10 of Crichton, looking to make a move. He's saved up so much ERS where Crichton's sitting on 11%. You'd think this is Swaggy's race to try and win right now. He's got the engine power, he's got the position. But
he just needs to time it. He can't give Zach another opportunity.
Nah, not at all. We might even be waiting to see this on the last lap.
I reckon you're right. If he goes now, it gives Zach an opportunity the next couple of laps to get by. So. Oh, Zach, far out. Sideways again.
Sideways. What else is new?
But Swaggy can't afford to make a mistake as well.
No, not at all.
He's going to play a longer game.
How are the boys? How are they sitting on penalties right now? Is Crichton close? I think he's on his last warning, isn't he?
Let's have a look. Zach, he is on his last warning. Swaggy, he's got one more warning in his back pocket. So he's got two 2 before he gets a penalty. Zach is on 1 before he gets another penalty.
Okay.
The Swaggy can afford to at least make a mistake somewhere.
Yep. Just not one that's going to cost him time to Crichton. Big wheel spin there out of turn 1.
Huge pressure.
He's right on ball with Swaggy through Eau Rouge. Through Radion. I think he might make a move here.
Oh, he's gonna...
He's nice and close.
He's gonna go now. Look at that.
Too easy.
Now he has to defend for a lap.
Yeah, but Crichton has no... Yeah, it is that guy, but he also has no ERS. Got very little where Swaggy can defend quite well with that ERS he has in his back pocket. Pure Gold's closed down to Aaron by a second. Has Wogboy pitted yet? Wogboy's got a pit. He has to pit. He's only raced on the mediums this race.
Yeah, so he'll... Give me a minute. Yeah, so if he doesn't
Swaggy,
box...
3-second time penalty. No. How did he...
gathered 2 warnings? Really?
Wow, where did that happen?
He gathered 2 warnings in that lap.
Oh, wow, Swaggy. Now we just need Crichton to make a mistake.
Oh,
No, I'm pretty sure
no.
Crichton will know that, and he's just got to keep it on the track right now. Swaggy snatching the victory of defeat, snatching the defeat from the jaws of victory, basically, right there, as he had the win wrapped up almost.
Well, if Zach makes a mistake,
He doesn't make many though. He had that. We had that 3-second penalty on the first lap. Pure Gold 3-second time penalty. So there goes the podium for Pure Gold. So Aaron's has Crossy got any penalties? Because Crossy could come through and steal podium here.
Oh, let's have a look. He's got 2 warnings and that's it. He's got no pens.
Oh, so Crossy, let's have a look at the leader right now. From Aaron, Crossy is he's just outside. He's 3.8 seconds behind Aaron, so he might just miss out. Wogboy's in the pits to do his last pit stop. I don't know why he didn't try and pit a lap before and get the fastest lap. Yeah, kind of a mistake there. I think that's a little bit of a mistake there from Wogboy. He could have definitely tried to. Maybe he forgot, and then you just got the notification you need a pit to try both tyres.
Yeah.
Unfortunate there for Swaggy, as Crichton now sitting in the box seat, up 6 positions in this race. Definitely driver of the day.
Yeah, just I can't believe that from Swaggy.
That's unfortunate there from Swaggy. He's
Okay.
looking so good.
But the thing that actually caught me out, because I thought he had an extra warning in his back pocket. As it turns out, he didn't. When he got his first penalty, which was on lap 10, he actually got 2 warnings on that lap. So he only had 1 warning in his back pocket, as it turned out. So all it took was 1 mistake from him.
So as Swaggy comes down, Zach's trying to send it down the inside of the bus stop chicane, but it's all in vain. I think Swaggy's going to finish first on track, but Crichton's going to win the race as he does some celebratory drifts. Oh, lucky he didn't write the car off there. But P1 for GeForce Crichton, P2 Swaggy, P3 will be GeForce Aaron, P4 Pure Gold, P5 Gaming Burger, and Crossy gets up to P4, so misses out on a podium by a half a second behind Aaron. Unlucky there, but Gaming Burger P6, Pure Gold P5. Miku is going to come across the line in the Alpha for P7. Gaming Burger P8 in the Renault. Wogboy will come across the line after hitting on the last lap to put on the softs. Unfortunate, because he could have easily had the fastest lap. And that rain stuck around the whole race, so that was kind of annoying.
That is the most extraordinary conditions I think I've ever seen in an F1 race period, where it's been raining all the way through, but it's never been intermediate conditions. It's been dry every single lap. I don't think I've ever seen that ever.
Nope, it's definitely a strange one. I'm Spilly retired from the session.
Well, luckily everyone finished.
Hey,
Not a problem.
Oh, that is your Belgium Grand Prix. Driver of the day is GeForce Crichton. He said he'd put on a show for us. He certainly did. He won the race from P8. Made it look easy. He's got some ridiculous skill, this boy. Does a little shimmy dance on the podium. As he takes P1, and I'm pretty sure extends his lead in this championship as well.
Yeah.
Waggy P2 and Aaron P3. You'd see these drivers on the podium together quite a bit these days.
No, a fine drive from Zach there. But he'll be pretty shut up about qualifying still, I imagine. Because that lap, yeah, he was on for a really mega lap then. But no, a fine performance to come out on top in tonight's race.
Yeah. But great drive there from Crossy as well, who gets through the whole race with no penalties, almost steals a podium off GeForce Aaron. But yeah, no, great drive. Unfortunate for Spilly, he was having a good race until Ginger took him out through the bus stop chicane. But yeah. Oh, well, that's been your Belgium Grand Prix. I've been very side pod. Thanks for joining me again, Smeg. It's been a pleasure.
First time in a long time.
It has, mate. It's good. It's been a while since we've done comms together. I've missed it.
But two comm sessions in a row, yeah.
I bet you your stuff now, mate. Go home, go have a sleep, have a little nap.
Get some rest. Hit
That's it.
That kind of crap.
Well, thanks for joining me again, mate. It's been great.
It's been fun. A very odd race.
It was. That rain stuck around the whole race, and yeah, I would have liked to have seen what it would have been like if it had gone drier, but unfortunate there. It stayed wet the whole race. But Spilly got wing damage when Swaggy braked in Eau Rouge. Yeah, I figured he did. So Spilly just confirmed he got wing damage when Swaggy almost lost it through Eau Rouge. So, yeah, unfortunate there for Spilly.
So just a lime green wing, but yeah, you were quite right.
But yeah. So next week will be Italy, Monza. So that will no doubt be an absolute cracker of a race as well, as it usually is. Fast, high-speed track.
Yeah, if you want to watch NASCAR in open wheelers, tune in next week, because I can guarantee you it's going to be absolute carnage, I reckon. It typically is at Monza.
Yeah, it will be.
Particularly on lap 1.
Oh, turn 1, lap 1 is going to be a few front wings go missing, I think. But yeah.
Maybe a couple.
A couple, definitely, quite a few. All right, well, that race ended perfectly because it just started pouring down at my house. You can probably hear that in the background, so that's where I'm going to end the stream. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thanks again, Smeg, for joining me in the box. It's been great, and we'll see you all next week.